a simple question of how much money do you make. So, you'd be surprised, and you definitely want to talk to an attorney about that.
Could you qualify for a fresh start when it comes to your finances? Well, that's what we're going to ask the lawyer on this episode. Hi again, everybody. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com. My guest is attorney David Shuster with Shuster Law in Dallas. David, thank you for making some time again to help out and answer our questions.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's start with this fresh start thing. What is that, and how does it apply?
Well, a fresh start is the phrase. It's a great phrase that applies to getting rid of unwanted debt, right? What is unwanted debt? It's debt like, you don't want to move out of your house. You want to keep your mortgage. You don't want to lose your car. You want to keep your car. Unwanted debt being credit card debt, medical debt, short-term unsecured loans. Getting rid of unwanted debt, so it goes away, and it's literally a starting fresh that takes about 3 months.
But there's certain criteria you have to qualify for it in order to do the fresh start?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's got to be qualifications, right? The primary qualification really that we look to is income. Obviously, if someone has never heard of bankruptcy before and they're thinking, that's not right. What do you mean I could just get out of debt? Like something bad's going to happen. I don't, not everyone can just go do it. Okay,
right.
So the law sets up restrictions, and the primary restriction is how much money do you make? And not just how much money do you make now, but really a 6-month snapshot of what it looked like for you in the last 6 months, okay, to determine if you have the ability to repay debt or if you can get that fresh start.
So when you say how much money, is it you might not make enough money, or is there a case where you might be making too much money?
Listen, the biggest thing to know and to learn from this short video is to talk to an attorney, right? Because when you go on Google, I actually did it this morning. I haven't Googled qualifying for bankruptcy and not, mostly they'll take it to websites, but
Sure.
But here lately they have the questions where if enough people type in the question, then essentially Google kind of answers it for you on that first little section, right? You're not going to get the answers you need there. Just talk to an attorney, right? Bankruptcy consultations are almost always free. You need to talk to an attorney to determine if your income is $65,000 a year now, but it was $100,000, or vice versa. What are your expenses? There's a lot of things that factor in. It's not just a simple question of how much money do you make. So, you'd be surprised, and you definitely want to talk to an attorney about that.
So does this usually involve, we're talking about bankruptcy. Explain what Chapter 7 bankruptcy is and who may qualify for that.
Yeah, there's a means test formula. It's called the means test. You've got to, put in your information, how many are in your household, what your expenses are, what your income is. Like I said, last 6 months, what it is now. There are expenses that are figured out for you based on what the average expenses should be for a household of your size in your county, right? So those, those are pretty straightforward. It's called part 1 of the means test. But then there's this second section of the means test where I kind of refer to as below the line deductions, like they are what they are. It's like what is specific to your household? Oh, you have that much money that you have to spend each month for medical expenses, for prescriptions, for dental, for everything. Okay, so that can be applied directly below the line when you otherwise wouldn't qualify. And there's several categories of those expenses.
And those are the kind of things I would assume you're not going to be able to just Google and get a quick answer and figure. An attorney's going to be able to.
Not at all. And a lot of clients are surprised after they talk to me. And you need to talk to an attorney that'll walk you through that process rather than just say, "Oh, you make too much money for a Chapter 7." You need to, I always pay very specific attention to all the details of that person's situation, just right away in that initial phone call, to try to determine if there's something we can do to get a fresh start for that person.
You mentioned that initial phone call. What can people expect in that initial phone call, and is there a charge for that initial phone call, David?
No charge for that call. If I'm available when you call, I will talk to you and for at least 10 minutes and maybe longer to get sort of some key bullet points. So that way, hanging up that phone, okay, I've got a chance. The attorney just told me that there's a possibility. Obviously, I couldn't tell you for sure if you qualify for a Bank Fresh Start unless you're unemployed or some unusual circumstance. But in that initial phone call, you'll hopefully just hang up knowing that, oh yeah, this is an option that is potentially available for me. And then we can have a second phone call or ideally an in-person meeting to discuss it further.
What if either in that initial phone call or maybe after I retain your services and we decide, okay, I don't pass, I don't qualify for the means test. Does that mean I'm out of luck? Are there other options for me at that point?
Good question. Yeah, there are other options. Okay, there are other not if you can't do the fresh start bankruptcy right now. I have certain situations where you need to wait. Right, you made too much money 3 months ago, for example, or some other unusual circumstance. Okay, so where if you wait when something or you expect a change in your circumstance, then you can anticipate that and then give me a call back at that later date. Other options would include filing a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. If we can kind of figure out that you're going to be paying back creditors a minimal amount that creditors are entitled to, not all the money, not 100% maybe, but just a percentage. And hopefully that percentage would be below 50%, because 50% is kind of the percentage that you kind of look for on average when you want to settle with creditors on your own, which is also something I can assist with.
It sounds like, again, this is the kind of thing, it can get very complicated, and having somebody who's an expert in it will relieve a lot of that pressure. That's right. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't want to say they're complex issues, but to try to navigate exactly how to do it, it's worth definitely getting an attorney if you've got, more debt than you can pay, get some good advice. Well, David, I think we could, follow this fresh start topic, maybe in a couple more videos, a couple more episodes, maybe make a little series. I think you've answered a lot of questions today, but maybe we could do some more in the future. I would look forward to diving into a couple of details, specifically the types of expenses that if you are a six-figure, $100,000 household, you think there's no way you can qualify. Next video, maybe we'll dive into what some of those expenses are. Perfect. Thank you so much for your expertise, David. And as always, thank you for helping and answering our questions. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been Dallas attorney David Shuster. If you want the best information or you're ready to choose a lawyer that lawyers choose, make sure to go to askthelawyer.com. Also, please hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the screen, and that way you'll be notified when there is the next episode available of Ask the Lawyer. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com.